And we're recording. Great. So again, welcome to the Maple Valley Farmers Market Vendor Orientation 2022. We have not done one of these in several years, and as a result, we had to dust off all of our manual slides, a vendor guide, and all of the other sources to try to put something together. And while this is not meant to be a completely authoritative or a complete list of everything that you need to know, I'm hopeful that this will at least give you a rundown of the top level items, and then of course if we have time at the end, and I'm hoping we will have time at the end, we'll field any questions. I will also say that we will be happy to field any questions that you may have through email, and I'm going to give you my email here in just a moment, but you can always reach out to us. We have day jobs. We may not be immediately responsive to those emails, but we want to make your experience in our market as good as it can be. We want you to be as successful as you can. So if there's anything we can do to facilitate that, please let us know. My name is Mark Hoban. I am the president of the market for the 2022 season. This is my third full year beginning with being the president of the market. I've been a volunteer in the market prior to that time, and this is an elected position, but it is frequently an unopposed position, and so far it has been. I'm the third president of the Maple Valley Farmers Market in its history. We're beginning our 14th season of operation. The market was founded in 2009. And so we stand on the shoulders of all those who came before us. So let's get started with those contacts. I want you to please be aware of green light, white list, whatever you need to do in your mail systems. The primary email that we'll be sending from, and the one that we want you to send to, which is info@maplevalleyfarmersmarket.com, and this is the one that we've sent our vendor notifications from. If you received a invitation to apply, it came from that. But we occasionally reach people who said, hey, I didn't see your email, it was in my spam folder, or it was in something else, so please make sure that that's the email, that email will get through to you. And also, although there are a number of people involved in the market, myself, my staff, and others, when you're contacting the market, please contact us through info@maplevalleyfarmersmarket.com. Now, we also will post things to our website, informational things. You can find market maps, different people that are participating in the market, vendor information, and so forth on our website, which is maplevalleyfarmersmarket.com. And our most active social channel is on Facebook, which is facebook.com Maple Valley Farmers Market. Please follow us there. You'll see the kinds of things that we communicate with the general public on that channel particularly. All of the things I'm going to talk about tonight are available in our 2022 vendor guide. This is available on our website on the vendors page. It runs to actually about 16 pages with the appendix. But in case you need a reference point or anything that we talk about this evening, that's another source for you to look those things up. And you can just download the PDF and have it with you, and we will update that as needed, and we'll notify people we've made a change to the vendor guide and you may need a new one.
Mark, I'm here. This is Gene.
Gene, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. You haven't missed anything.
Okay.
All right. Moving right along. And this is the top, kind of the rules of the road at the market. And I want to make sure, and I don't want to sound like a scolding dad, but I want everyone to make sure that they are aware we do have some rules for the way we treat each other and our customers at the market. So all of us, our staff, our volunteers, our vendors, we will treat each other in a professional manner that fosters a sense of market community. All participants agree to follow and uphold this code of conduct. Practice patience and understanding, demonstrate sensitivity to people of all ages, ethnicity, and I'm sorry for we got some background noise. We're trying to mute folks there. All right, excellent. Practice patience and understanding and demonstrate sensitivity to people of all ages, ethnicities, and diversities. Treat customers with courtesy, respect, and honesty. Assist other vendors when possible. Treat market staff, volunteers, and other vendors with respect and understanding. Notify the market staff immediately of any unsafe conditions that you see. Resolve conflicts in an unobtrusive manner. Practice safety at all times, including while driving on and off of the market site during setup, loadout, and unloading. Dogs and other animals are not permitted in vendor booths. We do allow dogs in the market, but we do not allow them in vendor booths. So please do not bring your pet to your market booth. There is no smoking or vaping in the market area, and actually by Maple Valley Municipal Code, there's no smoking or vaping anywhere on any park property, which is not just the market proper, but all of the Legacy Site Park, including the parking area. So we're not here to scold or bust you for that kind of stuff, but please don't do it in the market area, and be as discreet as possible. If you need to smoke, get some distance away so that it is not an issue for others who do not partake. No market staff or vendor may be under the influence of illegal drugs or alcohol while participating in the market. There's time and place for that, but it's not market Saturday. No firearms, please don't bring your guns. And no music or radio playing in market booths. You know, we have allowed this in the past, and I guess the takeaway is we will play music. We have live entertainment frequently playing music. We do not want competing music leaving your booth area, infringing on someone else's enjoyment, particularly your neighboring vendors. So please don't play music in your market booths. Okay, moving along. Okay, some basics of the Legacy site. This is an overhead illustration of the area where we conduct the market. This is top of the map is north. So as you see it, the pavilion building is the main structure that you see when you drive into the Legacy site lot. It's on your left as you're coming in from the main entrance. We have water, a spigot, essentially, at the northeast corner of the pavilion. Directly south of that, on the other corner of the pavilion, this season we will have a vendor hot water wash station. Now, this is specifically for vendors and not for the general public. There are portable restrooms. There are 4 porta potty restrooms, and there are portable hand wash stations, unfortunately cold water wash, that are available there for the general public. And then finally, the other thing to be aware of is that we operate a golf car shuttle service between the south lot of the Legacy site and off-site vendor parking. And you can catch that shuttle in the area immediately south of the paved area where the market is conducted. And this actually is not in the vendor guide, but we will make this available to you. And of course, once you're on site, all of this stuff will, I think, become clear. Ours is a rain or shine market. This is Maple Valley. It rains here frequently. We conduct the market in an outdoor venue at the Legacy site. As a venue for food distribution and also an economic platform for independent and small businesses, it is our policy to operate in all weather conditions, including frequently rain. There are exceptions to this. The market staff may, when conditions warrant it, either curtail or cancel the market for weather conditions that we deem unsafe. That can include high winds, it can include electrical storms, and has at once also included very poor air quality a few years ago when we had the wildfire smoke here. But in all other cases, and particularly if it's raining, we are still going to do the market. And I can assure you that although attendance is affected, that there is a core of market shoppers who will come rain or shine. And so we want to be there for those people, rain or shine. We encourage all of our vendors to think about what it would be like if they're selling in the rain and plan for that eventuality, which may include sides on their canopy. It may include a different arrangement of product in the booth. It may even include different product selection. You know, if you have something that is impacted by high humidity or getting a little bit of splash damage, perhaps those are products that you don't bring to market on days when we're expecting inclement weather. So we were very fortunate last season in that almost all market days were dry, and most of them were sunny. One actually was exceptionally warm, and we did close early that day. But this again is Maple Valley. It rains here a lot. It's one of the reasons we have such amazing natural beauty in our area. So we need to plan for a rain or shine approach to selling at the market. So let's talk briefly about vendor parking. It is our goal to have all vendors in our market be as successful as we can be, and ultimately that success hinges on how many shoppers can access the market, get in and look at the wares and the service and the produce that's available there and purchase it. And when we had previously had vendors parking at the legacy site, it significantly restricted the amount of shoppers that we could get in. And we met with the city last year at the beginning of the year. They were very responsive and created an offsite parking area, which is south of the legacy site. And when we were able to move vendors' cars off site, it alleviated almost all of our traffic problems, and it does allow more people to get into the site. So although this is a little bit of an added inconvenience, certainly it is in every vendor's best interest to try to get as many shoppers as close to the market as we can. So that's the reason we're doing this. And so the diagram at the left is at the right is a top-down aerial view, and it shows the location of the legacy site. All vendors, unless arrangements are made with our market operations director, must park in offsite parking. If you don't park in offsite parking and we catch you, we will dock you a week's booth fees. We have in previous years tried to do this on an honor system and with gentle reminders, and while that is effective for 95%, the other 5% are going to pay this year. The distance from the offsite parking area to the legacy site is, depending on where you're parking, in that roughly 2 block long area, is between 1/3 and 1/2 of a mile. It's 6 to 10 minutes to walk it at a comfortable pace. We understand that that's not everyone's idea of a good time, and particularly if it's raining or if it's exceptionally warm. We do operate a 6-person golf cart shuttle that runs from just after we open for vendor setup through the market opening, and then again before the market closes. And at the end of the day, it's certainly not a problem to catch the shuttle early, bring your car back to the legacy site, park it in the north lot, and come back. A number of vendors do that, and that's fine to queue up that way, but we particularly don't want people parking in the south lot. So from the legacy site, once you've left, as you're leaving, you take a right turn, head south along State Route 169, turn right at Southeast 260th. That's right where Maple Valley Mini Storage is, and follow that road down. There's a gate that the Parks Department opens up for us every Saturday morning. You'll turn left into the market parking area. We have nose-in parking, and there were at least last season and likely will be again painted stripes on the compacted gravel. Cars and trucks park nose in near the front. If you have a trailer, we ask that you pull it all the way to the end of the lot and park it there. You can park it along the side of the road or along the side of the parking area to allow traffic to go through. As with anything, lock your car, don't leave valuables in your car, don't leave valuables visible in your car. We will conduct a safety security check roughly every 30 to 45 minutes, but we do not have security in that area. So, you know, a word to the wise, hopefully, try to secure your car as best you can. There is an improved footpath that leads back from the corner at 260th along State Route 169, so you're not walking on the side of the road, and it is that footpath that the golf cart. When you are leaving the offsite parking, go south, so the opposite of the direction that you came in, head south. That road becomes 236th Avenue that you come out on, and then that bends around and eventually comes out at State Route 169 over by Crockett's and all of the other stuff there. So this is in everyone's best interest to continue to move our vehicles off site. We don't need them while we're there at the market, and we want to allow maximum parking possibilities for our customers. So let's pivot a little bit and talk about what happens on market day. And what time are we? 20 minutes in. Perfect. So setup in the morning, we open the market area for vendor setup beginning at 7 a.m. We ask all vendors to be set up by 8:30 a.m. Not everyone needs 90 minutes to set up, and in fact, I think most people find, you know, what time works best for them to arrive. There is usually a little bit of traffic at 7 in the morning. Our large farm stand vendors are typically there, as are a few others. So, but anyway, we begin opening at 7. It is important to recognize that with the number of vendors that we have participating, and we're going to have some large markets this season. I think the smallest one we have planned at this point is just over 80 vendors participating, and we have a few dates where it's closer to 100 vendors participating. It is going to be extremely difficult to have 80 vehicles in this area. In fact, it won't hold 80 vehicles. And so what we ask our vendors to do is to please drive into the market area, unload your vehicle into your vendor's your stall space, and then go park, and then come back and set up. And again, parking is off-site, so that's going to be another 5 or 10 minutes away from your stuff. But we have staff there. People will not get into your stuff. We're going to watch it carefully. But vendor vehicles can really only be in the market area to load and unload. We cannot have people, you know, setting up their booth and moving stuff from the car to set up. We need people to unload as efficiently, safely, and quickly as possible, and then move their vehicle out so others can access the space as well. So, and our staff will enforce this, and they'll ask you please to unload before you do anything else. Vehicle traffic in the site, again, because there are so many vehicles and because it is a confined space, vehicle traffic is one way, north to south. You can see in this diagram the blue arrows. So entering from the north lot, there are 3 possible ways to go. Down the big bend around to the right, you can go forward and then take a right turn into the Flower Row area, which then connects with the big bend down the back rail. There's 2 other main areas, and then over to the far right, if you are one of the food vendors that is set up in one of those spaces there immediately south of the pavilion, you can enter from the lot that is the small lot that's between the pavilion and State Route 169. but all of those then need to exit into the south parking lot and then go out to the offsite parking area. Every vendor needs a 10 by 10 canopy for their 10 by 10 booth space. If you have a 10 by 20 booth space, you'll need 2 canopies, or 10 by 20, etc. All canopies must have a 25-pound, at least a 25-pound weight on each leg. This is for safety. In the event of wind, you can't grab your canopy and hold it down. We need everyone to act as safely as possible and firmly anchor their canopies, and those are the first canopies go up first and weights go on immediately before any other setup takes place. In the event of inclement weather, let's say it's pouring down rain, you may pull in, set up your canopy, set up your weights, unload under the canopy, and then go park. But if it's not raining, we expect folks to just unload as efficiently as possible and then move their vehicle. We would need all cars out of the market area 30 minutes before the market begins, so that's 8:30 in the morning. We ask people to be set up by 8:30. This doesn't always happen. There may be times when we need to have a quick vendor huddle. There's also just a moment of zen before the market starts where you might walk around, chat with other vendors, see what other people have to offer. So we try to get everyone set up by 8:30 in the morning. So let's talk briefly about selling at the market. In terms of signage, we ask all vendors to post a sign identifying the name of their business or their farm and where it's located. People want to know who you are and where you're from, and all signs need to be up before the market opens. We need those signs to be inside your booth area. So sometimes that's a banner that goes, across the back of the booth. Sometimes it's a banner that's at the table at the front of the booth, and that's completely up to you how you choose to do that. But all signs need to be in your booth area as to not disrupt the flow of shoppers walking through the market. Please do not place other signage outside of your booth. If you are selling produce, vegetables, or other farm goods, your signage must be true and accurate. They must be clearly labeled and show what the product is and how much it costs. Other selling tools, cash boxes, scales, payment processing, vendors are responsible for providing those tools necessary to sell in their booths. It includes scales if you're selling product by weight, your cash box, your starting bank or change to begin your selling day. Your payment processing systems are all the responsibility of the vendor. If you have a scale and you're selling by weight, your scale must be a commercial legal for trade. It must be inspected and sealed by Washington Department of Agriculture Weights and Measures, and there's a lot of detail about this in our vendor guide, but suffice it to say, if you're selling stuff at the market, it needs to be a scale that's recognized for commercial purposes. Let's talk now about market currencies. So to facilitate commerce, to facilitate access to food and other reasons, the market operates with a number of additional currencies besides US dollars, which of course are always accepted. But vendors need to be aware of these different currencies because we treat them slightly differently. So in the left column, there are shots of both the WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, and the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. So this is WIC, FMNP, and SFMP. These are not easy to say, and I've been saying them for a while. So these are food aid currencies that are administered by the US government, and only vendors who have registered with the state to accept these can do it, and that's, again, typically farmers. They can be used to purchase, the WIC FMNP can be used to purchase all products, farm products, except honey. The Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program can be used to purchase all products, including honey. As a vendor, it is important that you do not give change for these currencies. and they are in $4 amounts. Turn these into the market with your sales report at the end of the day. We will stamp them and validate them, and then you can deposit them in your bank. In the middle column, this is another food aid currency, and there's a couple different variants here, but this is EBT and Snap Market Match. So these are administered by the state of Washington. And EBT recipients typically have a plastic card, like a credit card or debit card. They will use that benefit card at the market booth to deduct from their account, and we give them currency that they use in the market. In previous years, it has been a wooden token with red lettering, and there's an example of it here. Last year, because we were in a period of shortage of those tokens, we went to a paper scrip, and that's the one that you see kind of there in the background that says Maple Valley Farmers Market Snap Market Currency, and those are roughly the size of a dollar bill. Additionally, people may be eligible to receive market match money as well, and that's the small script that you see there. So the EBT script can be used to purchase all products from farmers and from food processors. They can also purchase prepackaged food from prepared food vendors. They can only be used for fruits, vegetables, herbs, and edible plants. And again, as a vendor, you do not give change for these. So if someone gives you, $5 for a $4.20 item, there's no change given. Again, turn these in to us, to the market information booth at the end of the day with your sales report, and you'll get that money remunerated back to you at your next market date. Finally, over here in the far right column, the large wooden token, if you will, is the Maple Valley Farmers Market wooden nickel, the wooden token. These you treat exactly like cash. So these are a wooden token with green print. It does say change given, and these are in $5 increments. So when people come to the market, maybe they didn't bring cash and they want to purchase something from a vendor who does not take an electronic card or other means of payment, they can come to the market booth, and we'll turn their plastic into wood, if you will, and then allow them to use this as a currency throughout the market. So these don't expire. There's a number of them floating out there and around. Again, you turn them into the market information booth at the end of the day. And if the value of the tokens and the other food currencies exceed your weekly booth fee, then you'll be repaid whatever that difference is in cash at your next market date. So vendors are responsible to know which ones they can, which ones of these you can accept. If you have not registered for any of the farmers market nutrition programs, you don't have to worry about the WIC and the senior FMNP. Everyone who sells food products, farmers, food processors, prepared food vendors, needs to be aware of the ones in the EBT Snap Market Match column, because you will likely see those, and you need to know what they can be used for. And then finally, everyone will see the market tokens at some point, and we want you to take those and treat them just like cash, give change back when necessary, and all of that stuff then comes back to us at the end of the day. Let's talk briefly about food.
Sorry, can I interrupt and have just a quick question about payment? This is Emily from Lowrider.
Hi, Emily.
So we're totally cashless, and we've been that way for a little over 2 years now, and so there's no issue for us, obviously taking the EBT, but the wooden, and I'm okay with taking the wooden tokens. We just can't give change. So I'm guessing will that just be kind of at our discretion if they can make those wooden tokens kind of an exact amount, or would it be a better idea to just hold firm and just be like, we're cashless, so you just use your card instead?
We need you to accept these. And I will tell you that when I started in the market years ago, this these were super common, and now it is much more common for vendors to have their own payment processing with the advent of Square, everything else. But we do need you to take the wooden token. So what I would suggest is having a $5 item. You know, again, I'm looking forward to the cookies, but if you have someone who's like, you know, all I have is a token, then you need to give them $5 of cookies and do that. I think that might be easier for you than, you know, bringing a stack of crisp $1 bills to give change in. I certainly, you know, I think there's a bunch of reasons, convenience, sanitation, efficiency, that going cashless is a good move. But we do need you to take those wooden coins. And I will say again, there's not a lot of it out there. And if you have a if you're taking payment through other means, you know, you can certainly say, you know, that's preferred. But there may be, we'll work it out, Emily. We'll find a way to make it work. I'll work
yeah,
that's
okay, perfect. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I was just like, I just want to say something now, so it's not, you know, any surprise.
Are you know, our young entrepreneurs, you know, people who are testing an idea, people who are not regularly selling. They may not have payment processing tools that they use, and so for those folks, this does facilitate that kind of a transaction. You're in a different class, obviously, and have, you know, these payment tools, and if you're cashless for a couple of years, then that's kind of your workflow. And I think that most people that come to the market who have a token also have plastic, right? So
totally.
Okay. Moving on then to food safety and sanitation. So everyone should be aware of these things, and I just kind of bring this up because it is, you know, it is something that we do. And I will tell you that our staff, because we are operating under a permit from Public Health Seattle and King County, we will be at your booth during the market day with our temperature measuring devices, and we will measure the temperature of the food and of the food in storage. So cold food has to be below 41 degrees. Hot foods must be hot, and there are different temperatures for each of these things. One that has changed recently is the ground meat has moved from, I believe, the 145 to 155. But in any case, please be aware and take care to make sure that your cold foods are stored cold, and that hot foods, if you sell hot foods, are heated to a proper temperature so that we keep our market community safe from foodborne illness. The other thing that I need to remark about, even if you're selling not hot food or, you know, baked goods or something else, is that all food items needs to be stored 18 inches above the ground. So please do not bring food, even in plastic containers, set it on the ground. It needs to be up off the ground. So let's move forward ahead. You know, we've gone through the day. We started at 7. We set up our booth. The market opens at 9 with the bell. We've had a wonderful day, and now we're ready to go home. So what does it look like for takedown? Vendors can begin striking their booths at 2 p.m. If you sell through even before 2, we don't want you to take your booth down. We don't want holes in the booth, in the market area. You can put up a sign that said sold out, sold through. You can chat with vendors and visitors, but we ask you to please keep your booth intact until 2 p.m. Vendor vehicles are allowed in the market area when our market operations staff determines it is safe, typically 10 minutes or so after the close of the market, or when it is reasonably free of customers. Again, vendor vehicles allowed in the market area for load and unload only. So please completely break down your booth, pack it up before going to get your vehicle to bring it into the market. And as I mentioned before, if you want to grab a shuttle and bring your vehicle up into the north lot and kind of position it there, that's fine. But don't bring your vehicle into the market area and then begin breaking down your booth. We need you to, again, as efficiently as possible, move your vehicle in, load it up, and then head on out. Again, vehicle traffic one way north to south. It should go without saying, but it doesn't, so I'm going to say it anyway, that all vendors are responsible to maintain their selling areas in clean, safe, and sanitary manner. And please clean up after yourself. If you have a business that involves trimming, shucking, other transformation of items into finished goods, even if it's something like straw wrappers, please pick up all of that stuff before you leave. We are guests in the park once a week, and I don't want our presence there, we don't want our presence there to be a stain that lasts beyond when we leave the park. We should leave it as in the safe condition that we found it. And then finally, the booth fees must be paid and your sales report forms must be returned with your market currencies, any that you've collected, must be returned to the market information booth before 2:30. We'll have staff there ready to take those beginning about 1:30. And so for an hour or so, you can bring those to us. And new this season, we are asking people to pay day of market. So you'll be responsible for paying for the market that you just participated in. And we want that done by 2:30. And if you don't, we will be looking for you, and you will not be able to participate in any additional markets until you've paid your booth fee. So wrapping up, it looks like we've got about 20 minutes left, so I will continue to go through this as quickly as I can. Other stuff, cancellations and no-shows. So it happens, right? Things come up. You may need to not attend a market that you're scheduled for. We ask you to email us again at info@maplevalleyfarmersmarket.com as soon as you know that you are unable to attend a market that you're scheduled to appear in. We will accept cancellations without any penalty if we receive them before midnight on Wednesday before the Saturday market. If you cancel after Wednesday, you are responsible for paying your weekly booth fees, whether you participate in the market or not. Yeah, unless timely arrangements are made, you're responsible for paying that. Over here on the right-hand side, we have a screenshot from Manage My Market, and you can also make changes there if you wish prior to midnight on Wednesday, and those changes are time-stamped so we can see when those occur. There's a wait list for the market. We want, if you are scheduled for market dates, great. And we have more vendor interest than we have space in the market currently. We have a wait list right now of about 25 vendors. So we want to fill this up. We want everyone to have the broadest possible opportunity to participate. So if you know that you're not going to be there, please let us know. And if we don't hear from you and you do not appear and participate, we'll certainly be on the email and the phone trying to find out what happened. But multiple no-shows will lead you to be removed from the market. So we try to avoid it for a bunch of different reasons. But from a vendor standpoint, if you cancel by Wednesday, you're off the hook. If you cancel after Wednesday midnight, you're going to be liable for those booth fees, whether you're in that market or not. Permits and insurance. I think we're very close to the end here. Permits and insurance. So upon acceptance and prior to your first date, 2 weeks prior to your first date, so we're coming up on that right now, all vendors need to provide copies of permits, their proof of insurance, any licenses that are applicable to the business that they're in, and there are a wide range of those. And you can upload these to Manage My Market. There's a place to attach those to your account, and then we can see all of those in our view of the software and who is lacking. you'll need your Washington State tax number, your UBI, and then depending on the business that you're in, there's a lot of other things that could be applicable. Health department permits, nursery license, agricultural food processors, organically grown produce. If you're claiming that your produce is organically grown, will need certification. Dairy, Washington State Liquor Control Board for wine, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to read the entire list, but you hopefully will know the thing that the applications that are the licenses that are required for the business that you're conducting, and we need copies of those before you appear in the market. Finally, the insurance, and this has been a little bit of an onerous thing we've had to enforce over the last couple of years, but it is unfortunately a sign of the times that we live in. It's a litigious society, and in order to conduct farmers markets, market organizations like ours need to carry liability insurance, and in order for us to insure, we need our vendors to also carry liability insurance. So we need every vendor to carry a policy with a $1 million minimal coverage. They must name Maple Valley Farmers Market as additional insured on those policies. And you need to provide us a certificate, a proof of insurance before you participate in the market. If you do not have insurance already, there are a number of places that you can get it. If you're looking and you haven't found any, you can reach out to us. We have a kind of a cheat sheet list of carriers. Some of them will do a single day policy. Some of them will do a seasonal policy, and it really depends on how many appearances you have planned to make in the market, and also a little bit on what kind of things you're selling. But we need your insurance as soon as we can before you appear in the market. I hope this is my last slide. I think it is. The last thing I'm going to talk about is COVID safety. So we're still dealing with COVID in the world, and as much as we'd all like to be past it, this is the third year our markets had to deal with this. At this point, there are no COVID specific restrictions on our operation of the market. We can have all of our vendor classes participate. We can arrange the booths the way we want. We have dining, dogs, etc. in the market. But the point here is that we operate under permit from Public Health, Seattle and King County. As you all know, public health guidance has changed. It does change. It may change again. And the market policy is that we follow current and applicable county and state COVID guidelines and regulations. So please be aware that whatever state we start in right now, it could change during the season. And if it does, we'll communicate that to you. But we want everyone to be aware of that and also agree that if the health department guidance changes, that we will follow that guidance. There are things we can do to continue to, in a preventative fashion, fight COVID infection. Obviously, social distancing, mask wearing, those kind of things are helpful. Minimizing touch points in your booths and sanitizing contact areas regularly. All of those things are helpful and appreciated. So I think I made it to the end with 13 minutes to spare, and I'm happy to field any questions you might have to the best of my ability. So do we have any questions from chat?
No.
No questions in chat. And are people able to unmute themselves?
Yes.
All right. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Sure.
So we're gonna have those. Bring our little tent coverings, and it mentioned that we need like 25 pounds anchoring down each leg. What's the requirement of what type of anchor or 25 pounds are you looking at? Are you looking for an actual like weightlifting plate of 25 pounds, or
No,
what exactly?
it can be, these things there's a variety of different ways to do this. So the ones that the market has are like sandbags, right? So it's like a tubular kind of a sandbag. It's got it's sewn, and there's a grommet in the top, and then we attach with a bungee from that grommet kind of wrapping around the upright to the canopy superstructure, if you will. Some weights are like sand or water filled containers that kind of snap around the base. So you know, it's like two halves of a circular kind of, or a cylinder, and then those are secured with a strap. There are some that look like weightlifting weights that that kind of fit on the uprights, and it can be even like, you know, there's just a variety of different ways. The sandbags, I think, are the easiest to use in terms of, you know, portability. They're 25 pounds, so, you know, you got to have those babies around. But it can be literally anything, and we can send you some information on that. You can also Google that kind of stuff. You know, canopy weights is what you're looking for. Some canopies are sold with, and or you can purchase stakes, you know, to like stake it down. That's not going to work for us. First of all, the ground that we have there is mostly compact gravel, and it doesn't take a whole lot to pull a stake out of the ground. So we really want you to use a weight, but what kind of weights you use is really going to be up to you. And
Perfect.
if you forget your weights, we may have one or two to loan, but we really, this is part of, you know, conducting business at the market. And so again, to be safe, we want 25 pounds per leg, weighing that thing down. In the event that the wind comes up, we don't want to go looking for your tent in Hobart or Ravensdale or somewhere else.
Mark, I have a quick question here.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So a couple things. One, on the use of the term organic. So we grow organically, but we're not certified organic yet. You know, typically we say we grow using organic methods. Is that
That's
okay? Or
yeah,
okay.
no, that's fine. There's a difficult and lengthy process to be certified organic. And when things are certified organic, that's a USDA certification. You can't say that. You can say grown using organic methods or organic process, and people are going to ask you what that means, and that's certainly fine. And we would encourage that, you know, for a variety of reasons. But you just can't say it's organic. You have to say it's organically grown, or grown using organic methods, or some other descriptor. That'll be okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
Sure.
Krista had questions. She asked, since they're a nonprofit, would they still need to provide insurance? And also, do they need to provide their own tables? It's their first time at the market.
So yes, you do need to provide your own insurance. So liability is liability, whether you're a nonprofit or not, unfortunately. We want to facilitate participation by nonprofits. We may be able to come up with a table or chair or two to help that. So reach out to us, info@, let me know what your situation is and what dates, and we'll do what we can to help you out there. But we do need you to, we definitely do need you to insure. That's kind of, you know, it's, again, not fun for us to have to enforce that, but the reality is we need to be insured in order to continue to operate this market in the community, and we can't do that unless our vendors also insure.
There's another one from Murder Hornet. Says our product is boxed, bottled, and sealed hot sauce. Will we need to ensure we store 18 inches above the ground?
The answer is yes. You do need to store stuff 18 inches off the ground, even if it's boxed, bottled, and sealed. And by the way, I'm excited to try your product. That anything that says Murder Hornet, I'm going to sign up for that right away. But no, that stuff needs to be up. All food, whether it's, you know, hot sauce or donuts or whatever, needs to be up off the ground. That's the King County Public Health, Seattle and King County requirement.
And that includes produce as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we just need to have
Yeah.
an extra table, I guess, in the back to
Yeah.
sit extra stuff on.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm not sure what's magic about 18 inches. Squirrels can jump 18 inches. Ants can certainly climb 18 inches. Flying insects, it's not a barrier. So I don't know what the rationale is, but I do know that it's pretty explicit. That's what their expectation is. And I will tell you that we work with, again, the health department, and they will visit the market. They're not there every week, thankfully, but they will visit multiple times during the season. We don't get notice. It'll be like, oh my God, they're here. and so we just need to be enforcing best practices throughout the year, not only to satisfy the health department, but because we want to be a safe and healthy place for food distribution. All right. Again, I 100% appreciate you guys hanging with me for an hour and listening to me extol on the rules of the market. I will be happy to answer any questions that may come up after you've had a chance to think about it. Email me at info@maplevalleyfarmersmarket.com. I would encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to go to our website, go to the vendors page and download a copy of the vendor guide, because all of this stuff is there as well, and it's a handy reference point for you. I'm very, very excited that we're about to start a new market season. I'm particularly very excited with all of the new vendors that we have this season. Growing this market is a goal of our organization, and it has grown substantially since we've moved to the legacy site. And at this point, again, we have probably more vendor interest and opportunity than we have necessarily places to put people in the market. And but we are excited for every new vendor and all the returning ones too. And we're looking forward to seeing you folks in just a couple of weeks.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.